Thank you, Chair. I'm just a bit concerned because it would appear that the witness has done quite a lot under the previous dispensation. We know that reservists are only allowed to operate in the visible policing environment. Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, you did fraud, you worked in the fraud unit, you made the most arrests, you were on active crime scenes. Do you have anyone that can vouch for this? Like a commander that you must have worked under because you were doing duties of a SAPS member?
Chairman, the regulations changed. In those days, a reservist could work with a unit, whichever unit he went to work with. And I was asked to work with the detective branch at Boyson's police station, which I did. And after an incident that took place in 1996, where I was shot, I was no longer able to carry out possible physical work relating to if you had to arrest somebody that became violent or something like that. So I then changed. I was said, you know, you're very good at what you're doing. You can go and work in the fraud unit. And that's what I did. And as for going back 30 years to find somebody that may be able to come and tell you, I can look, but it might not be that I can find somebody today or tomorrow that can come and say, by the way, he did this and that and what. But I can try.
So your title was detective sergeant.
I was a detective sergeant, Chairman, and that article that I just referred you to refers to me as a detective inspector. But that was what do you call it? A misunderstanding by a journalist. I was a detective sergeant. That's it, short and sweet.
Were you a reservist detective sergeant?
Correct. Now, the regulations in the police today for the reservists are different than where they were in the 90s. Now, the reservists, from what I understand, are in uniform. I worked, by the way, when I finished working as a detective sergeant at Johannesburg Central Police Station, I then relocated to the border police.
Chair, can I just wrap up?
OR Tambo Airport. And I was working in the border police for 2 years.
Honorable James, may you...
So just to wrap up, just so that I can be clear on this. So you are a forensic investigator, meaning that you dig deeper, you get information, and you are not able to tell this committee and give us evidence in terms of the time you worked as a SAPS detective. Am I correct? You are not able to give us anything that can justify everything that you have told this committee here today.
No, Chairman, that's not...
You're not. Did you have a force number?
Yes.
So you can't go back onto the system and track your force number and give us some form of evidence that this is what you've done, because even we can go and query that.
Chairman, I don't have access to the system. My force number...
No, we'll get it. That's fine.
Sorry,
Thanks.
I'm being asked a question and then I'm being given the answer. On page 53, A53, Chairman, there's a letter there dated 26th of June, 1997. And it says, Detective Sergeant Paul Robert O'Sullivan, force number 0245-296-1. There's my force number. You know, anybody can go on the system through the necessary channels and find out. I was a police reservist until Jackie Celebi cancelled my work as a police reservist.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Sullivan, it is actually incorrect and unbelievable that you will say you want to come to South Africa and be integrated into the way of living without knowing what was happening in South Africa in the 80s, because the 80s were the most volatile years of our time. There were killings, there were state of emergencies declared. If I'm not wrong, in 86, I think it was declared twice. The youth were on the streets, people being killed. even at your 20s, there's no way you can escape that point and come here and say, no, I didn't know what was happening. Maybe I was naive. That is incorrect. And then the only thing you're telling us is weather. You call the bodies of our people on the floor weather. So that was what was happening at the time. People were being killed. And you wanted to come and join that kind of lifestyle of killing people. Are you not aware that people were being killed at that time when you were applying to become a citizen in South Africa?
I only applied to become a citizen in South Africa in 1994. And I became a citizen in 1995. So it's a reality that I had not applied to become a citizen. And it's also a reality that I have not stated that I did not know what was going on in the country at the time. I knew what was going on, but I didn't know the level of detail that I later found out. Because as you spend more time in a country, you find out more. So, that's my evidence.
But in the letter you wrote, Mr. O'Sullivan, you spoke about the 80s and that you were just 20 and you had no idea, and we can still say maybe you were naive at that time. It can't be correct that you're talking about 95. There was an interest in the 1980s. And you were interested in the weather in the 80s, and I'm saying to you, it can't be correct. And worse, you didn't have to stay in South Africa to know what was happening in South Africa. There was a big anti-apartheid movement in Britain, in London. Surely you knew the release Nelson Mandela campaign, very prominent in Britain, and you come here and tell us you wanted to come and settle in a country where people are demanding the release of Nelson Mandela, where children are being killed and all of that, because you were naive, you knew a little bit of what was happening. That is unacceptable. I don't think it's an acceptable explanation. You came to our country to become part of the privileged at the expense of the exploited. Will I be correct to make that observation?
Chairman, definitely not correct.
I didn't hear the answer, Chair.
May I request you that when an honorable member asks you a question, you look at them and respond to the question.
Chairman, I'm not able to turn and look without moving my chair. I don't have, because of my spine, I don't have the ability to turn and look that way. Unless I'm given a chair that's got wheels on and I can move it easily, I don't have the ability to turn and look in that direction. So if somebody can provide me with a chair with wheels on that I can move easily, I will be able to turn and look.
Possible served in all our institutions.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Now I can look.
Yeah, I was worried about that because for the earlier part of the morning, you could imagine when honorable members ask you questions and
Now we have a problem, Chair. I have to have a firm back behind me and this thing's moving. I can't lean, I have to be able to lean back without the chair moving.
the chair does not have to move.
Hang on. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, somebody that understands these chairs is able to fix it so that when I lean back, it doesn't go away like that.
Mr. Mpilo, let's assist. And
No, I don't want to go down. Put it back up again. Ah, that's it. Thank you. Now it's fixed.
is it fine now?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I can lean like this without it going over like that.
Can you turn it to my side? Let's see.
Thank you, Chairman.
Can you turn it to that side? Let's see. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, look at Honorable Malema and talk to him.
Afternoon.
Were you done, Honorable Member?
I'd asked a question and then he gave an answer. That's when I said I didn't hear the answer.
Can we proceed?
I didn't get the answer.
Okay.
The answer was that what you said, would that be correct? And my answer, Chairman, was that would not be correct.
Thank you. And then the handwritten letter, do you recognize your handwriting there?
Chairman, I feel that is my handwriting. But as I said, 42 years ago, I'd completely forgotten about it until somebody showed it to me the other day. So, yeah, I believe it is my handwriting.
Let's put it differently. Is that your handwriting on that letter?
I believe it is, Chairman.
Chair, what is the answer now?
There is no answer.
Is that your handwriting on that letter?
I believe that's my handwriting on that letter.
No, I'm not asking about belief. I'm asking about whether that letter is authentic and it's your handwriting that you see on there. You may not remember the content, but surely all of us remember our handwriting.
So I would probably say that is my handwriting.
Thank you. And then lastly, how do you say to us you don't remember who was your commander is probably 30 years ago and all of that? Because obvious, every police station in a particular year has got a station commander, has got this, has got that. And those people that we worked with for such a long time, and then giving people certificates that are not recognized by any institution, and giving them awards which you bought from a shop or Discom or something like that. You should remember those people. There's no way you can work with people and achieve these things that you said you have achieved, and you don't remember under whose command. As a person who's trained in military intelligence, a person who has been a reservist without being a citizen in South Africa, and having served for such a long time, there is no way you cannot remember who was a commander of these operations, because the discipline of what you are doing actually requires that you know your commanders.
Thank you, Chairman. I did not say I don't know who was my commander. The station commander in those days was Director Vermaak, and the detective branch commander was a Colonel Badenhorst. So, but I've never said, nobody said to me, who's your commander? And I've never said, I don't remember who my commander was.
No, the question was, these things that you are telling us, is there a person who was commanding you who we can make contact with, who can confirm that indeed these achievements were made? And you said, no, I can't remember, it's 30 years ago or plus. I think it was asked by Honorable James.
Sorry, Chairman. The reality is that I didn't say I can't remember who my commander was. I said I would have to look into it and find out. And if you go back on the record and play it again, you will hear that I said I would have to go and find out who. I don't even know if Director Vermaak is still alive. Our Colonel Badenhorst, I cannot say whether or not he's still around, because with 30 years ago, and with all due respect, I was a lot younger then, and they were a lot older than me. So if I can find somebody, but in the meantime, what I have done to try and evidence what I've said in my affidavit is I've attached some, just some, by the way, there's a lot more newspaper cuttings about the work that we did. And not one of those newspaper cuttings, Chairman, mentioned anything about intelligence services or anything like that. It was all about the successful work that we did and what we achieved in proper policing. Thank you, Chairman.
You see, the problem is going to be when you ask yourself questions and answer your own questions. No one asked you if those people were still alive or not. Whether you are dead or alive, if you have been my commander, I will still mention you as being my commander, and the files will dictate that, of course, the person is still alive or not alive. We didn't ask if your commanders are still alive or not. We asked, who can we reference this thing with, that these things that you are telling us to confirm, maybe your commander or any of the people that might have supervised some of your activities. And I'm happy that without referencing anything, contrary to what you said, I have to reference and check, because some of these people, you were able to give us some names and we can work from there.
And Chairman, it's clear if you look at the letters, which is page A53, it's addressed to the station commissioner at Boyson's SAPS. It says, for the attention of Director Vermaak. And it's signed by J. Schultz, Senior Superintendent, Head of Training. Now, I can go away and find out if there's somebody that still has knowledge of the work that we did back then that can come and say, yes, he did this, or no, he didn't do that, he did this, and what. But it wasn't put to me until now that I should be able to find such a person.
Whip.
No,